After spending 2 weeks in Nick with my 25 and cousin 27, I regret everything I've done in my life. I feel horribly depressed with my family's situation and my town. I am not sure how to express this to my loved ones because I feel like they hate cities and I would be going against the dogma. Grew up, born, raised in a small town in North Carolina. I always kind of thought it was the best way to live, rural, small town living, and everybody around me confirmed that belief for me. I got married at 20 and have 2 kids with my wife. Everybody here hates cities and urban people, viewing them as brainwashed, sheltered, pampered, hipster bullshit, etc. I am sure many other people who grew up in small rural towns know the same thing, that people in those towns tend to hate urbanites and everything about them. So when I got the offer to spend 2 weeks in Nick with my cousin after I got vaccinated, I decided, hey, why not with my wife's sister coming up from Georgia? When I went, we stayed in Brooklyn mostly. I fell in love with it right away. It really shattered pretty much all of my perspective. I am not going to go into detail, but my perception of cities as just being horrible hipster, sheltered millennial bubbles really wasn't true, and I was honestly blown away by the culture. They're the kind of urban, gritty, crude, authentic culture. It just made the kind of small talk culture in my town feel so superficial and fake. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. But one thing which stood out to me was that almost nobody my age was married or had kids. They had careers and lots of free time. They often still had a load of friends that they socialized with. There was a lot of community socializing, like people hanging out on stoops and just all over the streets. And the people were interesting and cool, in a genuine, authentic way. Not like a forced kind of way. It made me feel horribly lonely back home, realizing how unsocial everybody is in my town. Outside of church, I often can go many, many days without socializing with people, and that is just the norm there, unless you want to go to the bar in town and hang out with the drunks. When I went back to my town, I felt this horrible wave of depression and anger come over me. It was like my eyes were closed before, and now they were open. I had given up my entire life for this idea of some small-town family fantasy way too young. And now I won't ever be able to experience what millions of people my age are doing. I look at all of the old people who grew old in this town, the ones who often are the first to rant about how they hate cities, and I used to kind of look up to them, and now I feel almost sick to my stomach about how much I hate that I might end up like them. I am not really sure how to talk to my family about this. I feel like I lied a lot when coming back. Talking the city and saying it was bad, because I was a bit afraid of what some people would say if I said I liked the city. Again, people really do not like urbanites and cities here. Nick to these people is considered like a hellpit. I am not even kidding. My uncle asked if a feminist attacked me on the street for being a straight white male, as if that is something which randomly happens. Some people here have absolutely baffling views, and I had some of the same views, but not to the extent or craziness that they do. My wife also has much of the same kind of views of cities. I am not sure how to talk to her about this. Especially, I would feel almost like a traitor, or some. What do? I feel trapped. I feel horribly depressed. I am not sure. I kind of wish I never went. Too long, don't dread it went to Nick, fell in love with it. And now I feel horribly depressed in my life, and my town in general, and I'm not sure how to express this stuff. Seems like you just had an epiphany. It's funny, interesting, that people in small towns think those who live in bigger cities are sheltered, when that is exactly what people in big cities think of people who never leave their hometown. That being said, you're still so very young, 25, and there's no way of telling where life will lead you. Do what makes you happy. Maybe plan a weekend trip to Nick with your wife to gauge her reaction, or explore some of the bigger cities in Nick like Charlotte or Raleigh to see if that is somewhere you would like to live. It would be good for you to explore more about why you felt you had to lie to people around you and why you can't open up to your wife. Honesty is the number one thing that's going to help you feel less alone. There's a long-term trajectory here where you get to go on vacations to cultural places, where you steep your kids in diversity, encourage and financially plan for them to go to college and plan for a post-kids lifestyle with travel and cities. But you can't do that if you weren't honest with your wife and yourself about what you want, and if you don't invite her into your experience. Here's what I think you should do. Tell your wife the truth about enjoying your time in Nick. If you need to, cushion it by emphasizing that your cousin helped a lot with making it a good time for you, rather than talking about the people who live there and how you misjudge them. Focus on other stuff like the food or entertainment. 2. Ask her if she'd be interested in taking a short trip to the city. Maybe for 5 days. 3. Gauge her reaction. If it's positive, have fun planning a nice trip with your wife. If negative, maybe we'll see you back here. But I hope not. City living is great, and I'm glad you opened your mind to different ways of living.